Hello, music fans. I'm doing a first impressions video on some albums that came out on Friday, February 11th, 2022. I listened to a handful of albums that came out that day, and I'm just going to talk about my three favorites from that day. They're all really solid, not amazing enough to make it into my top 5 of the year so far yet, but they're all kind of in my top 15 or so of the year. And I'll start with Cult of Luna with their album The Long Road North. And this is post-metal with some progressive, some sludgy, some doomy influences. So sludge metal, doom metal, progressive metal, all mixed with post-metal. And this is their ninth album, and their music is usually pretty slow pace and trance-inducing, and this is no exception to that. Still kind of maintains that slower, trancey vibe, but still crushingly heavy. I'd say this is my third favorite album of theirs after their last two, which are my favorites, A Dawn to Fear and Mariner with Julie Christmas, the Mariner one being my favorite. But all three of those albums, I like how their most recent three albums incorporate some clean vocals in addition to their usual harsh vocals. And they have some guest vocals on this album done by Miriam Wallentin on the third track called Beyond One. And those female vocals give a nice haunting feel to the song. The next album I'm going to talk about is by the band Voivod, and the album's called Synchro Anarchy. This is thrash metal. More specifically, it's progressive thrash metal with some alternative and avant-garde influences. It's very quirky. This is their 15th album, so they've been doing this for a while. Yeah, imagine some very quirky progressive thrash metal. Imagine mixing King Crimson and Primus with the thrash metal albums released by Mr. Bungle and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Definitely worth checking out if you're into like quirky, experimental avant-garde stuff, especially if it's progressive thrash metal. I haven't listened to their whole discography yet, but this album makes me want to. And lastly, for this video, I'm going to talk about the new release from the band Alt J called The Dream. This is indie rock with some pop, some art rock, some folk, some electronic influences all thrown in there, maybe even a little prog here and there. This is their fourth album. I feel like their last album, Relaxer, was a bit of a dip in quality after their first two albums, which were really strong, but this one gets them right back on track and keeps them in my 5 favorite indie rock bands at the moment. The vocals are distinct and instantly recognizable, so when you hear an Alt J song, you know it's them. That's part of why I like them. And yeah, really solid album. Hopefully, at least one of those sounds like something you'd want to check out. Until next time, peace out.